The open media category recognizes exceptional journalism, primarily in text form, produced by any media outlet based in Canada. There are 5 finalists in this category. From CBC News Investigates, the team of Heather Evans, Dave Seglins, Chelsea Gomez, and Matthew Braga, with its entry, Surveillance in Canada, Past, Present, and Future. This multi-part, mostly online submission looks at technology and surveillance in Canada from the days when Louis Saint Laurent was Prime Minister until today. This is an entry of interest to all Canadians since we are all internet users, and it presents a balanced view of the risk we take on when using the internet against the backdrop of who can obtain unfettered access to our information. From CBC News, the 8-person team from the Fifth Estate and the Investigative Unit, with the entry, Doctors Without Boundaries. This entry looks at when doctors go bad. While their regulating bodies may post individual decisions after a doctor has been disciplined for his or her behavior, no attempt had ever been made to complete a comprehensive analysis of what those records contained. What was found was alarming, particularly the number of physicians who, after being disciplined for inappropriate behavior, were permitted to return to practice. This despite the sometimes extreme nature of their offense.
I would describe him as a serial abuser. It was an egregious example of an abuse of a patient.
He asked questions about, like, my sexuality. If I was orgasmic, to describe that. And I'm like, what?
With a doctor who has an obligation to care for the patient, why should we be merciful? I mean, you don't deserve to see patients.
From the Globe and Mail, the duo of Stephen Chase and Robert Fife with their entry titled Party Fundraising. This series of articles shows these journalists' determination to take a morsel of information and keep digging, researching, interviewing, and working until each new chapter of an unfolding tale of public accountability can be told. It showed a side of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau that he not only seldom displays in public, but also works with his advisors to actively dispel. Chase and Fife showed how determined some companies and some power brokers were to not only reach the Prime Minister and senior cabinet ministers, but put themselves in a position to lobby for their own interests. The 9-person team for the Globe and Mail, with its entry titled Killer High, How Canada Got Addicted to Fentanyl. In print and using various multimedia presentations online, this team lays out how fentanyl has become a nationwide public health emergency.
Fentanyl owes its rise to the legacy of OxyContin. The popular brand name prescription painkiller was taken off the market in 2012 after reports of addiction and overdoses exploded. According to police, it's the rise of illicit fentanyl, often manufactured by chemists in China and processed by dealers for street sale in Canada, that is increasingly leading to overdose deaths. As illicit fentanyl takes the place of oxy, it is often cut into other drugs like heroin or pressed into fake oxy tablets. When it's cut into other drugs, it's easy to get the dosage wrong. Imagine a batch of cookies with an uneven number of chocolate chips in one cookie versus the rest. Sometimes the fentanyl is mixed into other drugs secretly to make them more powerful, and that significantly raises the risk of overdose or death.
This series displayed careful research and a good characterization of the links between legal prescriptions for painkillers and the use of illegal fentanyl obtained from outside of Canada. The 5th finalist in this category, the London Free Press team of Randy Richmond, Maurice Lamont, Kate Dubinsky, Juanita Sims, and Ian Gillespie, with the entry Indiscernible, The Death of Jamie High. High was a young, successful father, a realtor in the southwestern Ontario city of St. Thomas. He was a man who had a perfect life. On December 23, 2014, High was found by correctional officers just before 10:45 a.m., unresponsive in his cell. About 45 minutes later, he was dead. The series looks at what happened to Jamie High, narrating his journey from the man he was to how he ended up dead. Quote, "If a man like Jamie can end up alone and naked and incoherent and dead in a jail cell in Ontario, so can any of us."